Welcome to Yahadut TV, Jewish television. This time I want to talk about the same subject that I spoke of in the previous lectures, short lectures, meaning in life, to put meaning in life. One way to find meaning in life is to go outside of yourself, to see something a little bit more real than your own being. Another name for this is called love, appreciation, valuing another person. There's a joke that's told that once a man was walking along a dock and he heard someone scream out, "Help, help! I can't swim, help, help!" He ran over to where the person was. "Help, help, I can't swim." And he said to him, "Listen, I can't swim either, but I don't make such a big deal out of it. Don't scream and yell." You have to feel the other person's needs. By feeling what the other person needs, by that it makes you greater. Not that you lose something of yourself, exactly the opposite. Maybe you can say what you do lose is your smallness, your desire to control everything, which, as we said before, is really a person fooling himself. Perhaps there can't be any greater mistake that a person can make. If any of you have ever learned or heard of the 12-step program, it's a means, perhaps the most successful means to date, of getting addicts, people who are addicted to drinking, to gambling, to the drugs, etc. There's hundreds of things that people can get addicted to get them out, is what's called the 12-step program. The essence of this 12-step program is don't try to control everything. The reason that you're so addicted is because you're miserable, and the reason that you're miserable is you're trying to control your life, everything that happens in it, and you can't do that. Life is a surprise, and life is filled with surprises, and that in fact is the essence and the happiness of life is that we are not in control. If you always try to be in control, you'll never experience true happiness and you'll never experience true love. This Professor Viktor Frankl that I spoke of, that the Lubavitcher Rebbe not only recommended him very highly, but even sent people to him to encourage him in his work, he said that there are basically three types of love. One type of love is physical love. Another type of love is emotional love. You get along with the other person. The other person's personality fits your personality. And then the third type of love is called essential love. This essential love does not depend necessarily on physical compatibility or even emotional or personality compatibility. This is the essential love, that you love a person for that person's essence. In which case, it means that you can love the person even if the person is ill and they can't provide any of the physical or emotional compatibility. Even if the person doesn't even exist anymore, the person is not alive, you can still love someone for that person's essence. That brings out your essence. There's another aspect of this type of love, which is called appreciation, or if you want to call it hopeful love, that you love someone because you believe that this person does have some unique quality. It's a known thing that if a child in school is failing, he's not doing well, by encouraging him, saying, "No, you really are intelligent. You're just different from everyone else. We have to figure out the way to bring out your intelligence. You're unique." As this type of love and care eventually brings out the good from the other person. But the fact is that both of these types of love are a certain degree of control. In other words, I appreciate, I desire to bring the good out of the other person. I am doing something in order be the one that influences the situation the way I want it to come out. There's another side of this coin, which is also positive, maybe perhaps even more positive. And that is what's called respect. Giving respect. In Hebrew, it's called kavod. Giving honor to the other person. I don't agree with the person. The person is the opposite of what I think. But I give him kavod. I'm willing to listen to what he says. I'm willing to think maybe he's right, maybe I'm not as right as I think I am. I'm willing to give up my place, to stand back. In some way, this is a much more difficult thing than loving the other person. When I love, I'm the one that's giving. I'm the one that's contributing. I'm the one that's holding the reins. But kavod, giving honor, giving respect to someone, in a way is letting this person be free. This is trusting the other person that there's something good inside of him that only he knows about. There's something good inside of the other person that he can realize. Allowing the other person's conscience, other person's senses, the other person's values to suddenly come out. That's why generally in psychiatry, the best type of psychiatry is if the psychiatrist just sits and listens to the other person, throws in a word occasionally so that the person can bring out the answer, because the answers are inside of us already. God creates each and every one of us constantly, and God creates us from His speech. Speech has meaning in it, letters. Every person inside of themselves, deep inside, knows and feels the meaning and the goodness of life. And this is what Abraham brought to the world, that everyone knows this. But people, just because people know it intellectually or because it's deep inside, it doesn't mean that it's easy. In fact, it's very difficult, perhaps the most difficult thing in the world, to the point where there are teachings in Judaism called the ethics of the fathers, Pirkei Avot. It says, who is a powerful person? A person that can conquer himself. To conquer the whole entire world is of course difficult, but for a person to conquer his own emotions and his own reaction to things when he's not controlling, that's much more difficult. That's much more difficult to give. So this, in a way, is the center of how to find meaning, to be open, to give honor, to give love, to give respect, to let God take over, let the meaning of the world come through. When this happens, what happens to a person? When he totally devotes himself to God. It says the example of such a person like this is King David. King David is the ultimate example of a person that has what we call in Hebrew bitul, surrender, total surrender to the truth. He was so busy and he was so active in the world that he did not even have time to sleep. He had talents, he had abilities. He wrote the book of Psalms. He judged, he fought battles, he ruled all of Israel. King David was a person that, because he was given over totally to God, and because God is constantly alive, the source of life, and life changes always and develops constantly, as he was attached constantly to meaning, to life, to responsibility. And that is the secret of true, lasting happiness. It touches the soul. And just as the soul is always changing and feels constantly new responsibilities to this physical world and to make this world a better place and wanting to be in this world, as the same exact way is true happiness is something that's constant, always. It's the meeting of the values that only the soul can know with this world, and sometimes which necessitates even defying the world, changing the world. But the most difficult thing is to change our own nature so that we can see the good in everyone, believe that there's good in everyone, and even be willing to step back in order that this good will come out.
JewishTV.media